Hello and welcome back to the CRT channel. I am John Cope. I lifted this transmission up on the bench and I can just tell by lifting how much physically lighter this transmission is. And it's a 727, and the reason why it's lighter is because it has 904 guts in it, and it's probably going to be all aluminum stuff too. So what we have here is called a ProFlight. These are done by a company that used to be in California. I think they're in Texas now. ProTrans. And Dave Smith is the gentleman who came up with these. And they're most of the NHRA super stock guys run these. And they're very expensive if you have to buy one new. And you're just gonna have to stick around and wait to see it when I open this. You're gonna be like, wow, that is some cool engineering. Here is the factory location for the front band adjustment on the 727s. Let me back out. See, this is a big block 727. This is the band adjustment, and they got a little plug in here with a seal on it so it don't leak. This is the band adjustment for the 904, gutted 904 guts in a 727, and it goes on there in a little bit of a different angle than the 727 one does. So I'm going to crack this baby open and show you what is inside. I don't know if there's any ProFlight stuff on YouTube, but there is now. So get yourself some popcorn and your favorite drink while I crack this open and show you what the inside of a ProFlight looks like. Well, we got some fluid running on the ground there, and it looks pretty red to me. Customer did say that he didn't have any problems with it at all. He just wanted to get it freshened. But I think I might beg a little different what he says. He may not be experienced anything. There seems to be just a little bit more than normal wear in here, and that looks like converter to me more than anything. So we'll get it cracked open and we'll see. And the first thing I see, which is kind of got some, looks like red rag to me, lint. It has a 200. This is an oil filter out of a metric 200 transmission, and I see it's got a little adapter on there from TCS. I know TCS has been making some ProFlight parts in the past few years. There's the connection for the trans brake. So there's your 204R filter. No, I said that wrong. It's not a 204R. It's just a regular metric 200, a 3-speed, which is a 3-speed General Motors. Oh, now it's going to be a smaller one. The metric 200 transmission, I remember when they came out, I was working with my dad at the time. It's a very light duty transmission. And boy, did it have its fucking problems. Excuse my French. It really had its problems. It basically works just about the same way as the 350 was, but just smaller. And boy, were they weak. No gold bolts. All right, well that's Dave's valve body from ProTrans, and it's basically exactly the same as another guy in the industry, Mr. Happy himself. I mean, exactly the same. That's, I guess you would call that's the money shot. Right there. I thought there'd be more engagement on that. That tooth for the drum. Welded up lever or strut. It was like a custom made lower verse. Boy, is that stuff light. Huh. But yeah, this brake is identical. They even build them the same. The way this brake works, it has a when the solenoid closes, it strokes a valve, and the valve, when it strokes, it lets oil go through to a a trans brake valve, which turns the trans brake on. I ran one of these brakes in my car before, in my red Coronet, for a couple of years. It worked good, you know. It's just mine works a little bit better, a little bit different. So you close this, it's always leaking, and then the pressure backs up and it moves the shift valve. The shift valve opens a passage and allows the trans brake valve to stroke. Then you got trans brake. There's just a lot of different pieces to do that. Mine, the solenoid's mechanically affixed to the valve. So it's mechanical, where this is more hydraulic. It's been around for a long time, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I feel that if you have a brake, you want to put the valve on top, right on the solenoid, like Griner did, like I do. Also, another thing with my valve body compared to this valve body, and it's not popular, but if you do have a solenoid failure, you have to, two things that you're going to run into. One, try and find one. You know, if you're at a race and trying to find this solenoid might be a little difficult. Then two, you have to drop the oil pan and then the valve body to change it. The first thing I did, and it's still to this day the only valve body for Chryslers with the solenoid on the bottom. So, God forbid, if the solenoid failed, you only have to drop the oil pan. And if it did fail, and I'm not around, it's a Power Glide solenoid, which you can probably get at any speed shop and Walgreens. It's so popular. This is kind of unique to them, so you'd have to go back to manufacturer to get that. Here again, I'm not ripping on this. There's a ton of these valve bodies out, and I sold a lot of them before I came out with my own. Okay, so I'm not, no way, shape, or form am I ripping on this valve body. I'm just saying the difference. So look at that, huh? That's the money shot. That's where all that money is spent, is right there. Let's see if we can see the, I'm gonna tilt my camera up a little more. You see the factory 727 band hole stud would be right here. The one over there is for the 904 guts. All right, I did notice one thing I'm gonna show you real quick. I noticed there's a lot of goop on this front seal. And this might have been changed with the pump in the transmission instead on the bench. And I want to show you something. This is more of education for you guys. You're do-it-yourselfers, you guys in your backyard. If you're gonna get a seal, don't get that one, which is also this one, okay? They work good if you use a tool to drive it in so it's squared flush inside the pump housing. It can be easily cocked if you just go around with the hammer like we normally do with the seal. It would be easy to cock it and it'd be easy to dent it. If you have a driver to get it down there so it's square and flush, then there's no problem. But that's hard to do if you have the transmission together and assembled. It's going to be, you're going to have to use a hammer to put it in like this. So I like the seal with the lip, because the lip is what's going to square the seal going down to the pump body so it's not cockeyed. So these are probably the most common seal you're going to get when you go to your average auto parts store. These are national seals that you get. These are the ones that are in all my overhaul kits. So if you can pick one of the two and you're doing it, especially if you're doing a front seal and the transmission still together, then get the seal with the lip on it. And if you can't find one, just go to CopeRacingTrans.com. They're there. Just a little tip. Just a little tip from Uncle Johnny. All right, let's get this sucker apart. The one thing I noticed while I was taking the band strut out is look at all the room. You can stick your hand all the way in the thing. And this is actually kind of a neat little piece of engineering itself. Notice that there's two struts welded together, but they're offset. See that? This is the top of one, this is the bottom and the other. It's two 727 struts welded together, not a 904 one. And I know why they do it, because it's got to be like this to get that offsetness to it, and the pitch or the angle of the dangle on here. Very cool. This is another man's engineering, and so far it's very cool. All right, well, I was going to use my Jaybo pump puller to pop it out, but it was a little too tight, so I had to go get my dad's pump puller. I remember Pops using this when I was a kid. And did you know where Jaybo's from, in McGregor, Iowa? They still have payphones all over the place. Anybody know why? Because Jaybo doesn't have a cell phone. but we got other issues. Is this gonna be another money shot? I guess oh, see, I knew it. I was gonna move my ice water because I was like, man, I'm gonna spill it. And I'm doing this left-handed. Fancy dancy. I heard the other one drop. I had to put the camera down. Well, look at there. That's how they do that. I'm wondering if this is now 904 stuff. They mill off the stator and bolt it straight to that. I mean, how cool is that? The taxi cab, cop car, front band, the super wide one, solid. It just got a little burn mark on it, but that wouldn't bother me at all. All right, I can't do this one-handed. I got to put the camera somewhere and then take the rest of this thing apart. Straight cuts. I hear there's a ton of gear ratios for these things too. I'd like to figure out which one this is. So there's light, that's for sure. And I just spilled trans fluid all over me. You know, back in my day, if you got some trans fluid on you, you had a leak. This is kind of Trek 6-pinion rear planets, 3-pinion front. Very neat. Then it's got a regular old 727 16 element Sprag in it and a regular old 727 lower burst band. Smooth band with no grooves is what you do with aluminum parts. And then you can see where the output shaft was remachined to take the smaller planetaries. Very neat. All right, let me get the rest of this thing apart. Got the transmission out of the cooker. Everything is blown off, and now I can inspect it without getting oil all over my hands. I have to give this gentleman such a thumbs up for what he's done with the design with all these parts. I can only imagine how much this transmission cost new. I did find some kind of a, I don't know if it's a build date or what it is, 8/27/09 on the servo, and the name is Sloan. I don't know if that was the builder, if that was the customer's name. I don't know, but that was the only number I found on here. Since I did take it apart further from the last time. It's got a really nice fancy aluminum part gear. And this is actually, this is a 727 output shaft that was cut down and resplined to fit these 904 parts on it. Every little thing about this transmission is just so cool. It really is. As I was drying off the parts here, I noticed that this one pin got hogged out. The one planetary, the needle bearings are all chewed up and it got hot. The pin that it rides on, along with the pinion, got scored. But the other two are all right. It looks like it started to chew this one washer up a little bit more, so this probably would have been the next one to go. You know, you got to figure, you know, you got 700-800 horsepower going through these baby little planetaries. It's something's gonna have to give, you know. I don't know how heavy this car is, and I don't know how fast it is. I'll have to talk to him about that. So I have to call Dave Smith at Pro Trans and get a planetary. I don't know how difficult that is. I know he's a very hard man to get a hold of. I'm gonna check with TCS first and see if I can't buy this planetary through them, because they've been making some ProFlight stuff, but it's got these really neat interchangeable gears that you could easily change ratios on the planetaries just by, you'd have to change the sun gear and the planetary at the same time, but you can definitely do changes to planetary ratios. Such a cool train. It's like having you guys remember when you were a kid and you got your first Lego set and you're exploring everything? This is what it's like. This is my first Pro Trans, but I've done these in 904 versions. So the same training in just a 904. I've actually got a couple of them out there that I've done, but this is the first 727 with 904 guts that I've done. So, but it's really neat. Just because I can't get none of this stuff anywhere, I was real careful and I zip tied all the bearings together so they can't get lost in the cooker. Or when they're blowing the basket out. I did the same thing with the multi-spring pack. The one thing, there's two things I have to do to this transmission. It just needs a few clutches. It's going to need a front planetary. I noticed that the billet servo is the style design, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there is something wrong with using the stock retainer on this big heavy-duty spring. So I'm definitely going to upgrade at least the retainer side of that. The front servo is fine. Even running stock clutches again, I don't have a problem with that. That's going to be fine. So I'm going to put some clutches and some steels in here. I'm definitely going to put a set of my thick lug pump gears. These just have the stock gears, and they've been working fine, but sooner or later those will break. So I want to put a set of thick lug pump gears in it. I want to put a front planetary in it, a set of clutches. The bands look fine, and a thicker band strut. Did I say band strut? And I'm going to put a thicker spring retainer in it for the low reverse servo. Everything else looks fine. I laugh with a couple of my buddies about welding the band struts. We call them hillbilly band struts. I mean, it does work, and it's a real cheap and efficient way to make your part instead of buy the part. But this is a little bit different. This is two 727 band struts welded together to get the right angle. Notice that they're not parallel, and it's offset at the same time. So I'm sure he's got a jig for these. He's got some really nice weld on there, and I don't have a problem reusing this. Not only that, you have to reuse this. You can't put one of my band struts in here because it just won't work. It's unique to this setup. Now, I do have some SFI cases back there that there were samples. If I had the time, I would put all these 904 pieces in a 727 SFI case, but I do not have the time. I have a pretty big load of work to do, but it would be neat to see all this, because I had them actually put that extra boss on the side of the case for the band strut or the band adjuster that has to be in there to run 904 guts. But I have everything here to take this and take this transmission and put it in an SFI case. I just don't have a bell housing, and it's the version 1 bell housing, version 1 case with the big flower on it. It's not the thin down one, but that'd be cool, kind of cool to do. Again, the stock clutches are just a little. This is for the direct. They use stock clutches in there. I don't know if that's how they do it, but that's what's in here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the front. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the rear. So there's 4 clutches in the rear and 5 in the front. My hats off to this guy who did this, to Dave Smith, man. It's cool. It's a cool transmission. There's no doubt about that. The engineering that went into this, and I only talked to Dave only one time on the phone about something. I don't even remember what it was for. And he's very busy, very hard to get, and I think he's got a waiting list that's months behind. At least it was when I talked to him years ago. It's been years since I spoke to him, but you got all my respect for what you did on something like this. But the parts, I mean, this is almost like designing a whole tranny kind of in a way, to take the guts out of one and put in the other. And he's done this on Turbo 350s and C4s and other stuff too. So, and I remember lifting it. Me and Tommy lifted. I'm like, oh my God, I can feel how much lighter it is. With all that, for one, it's all 904 stuff, and it's all practically all aluminum. So, all right, well, I'm gonna get on the phone. I'm gonna get some parts over here. I need a planetary. I have the pump gears in stock. I have the thick lot pump gears in stock. I have the spring retainer in stock, and then of course the seal kit. And I'm gonna put a pump machine in there too. So let's see how we do in ordering a planetary.